Blizzard boss is optimistic about a more independent future under Xbox. Sure, I'll accept it. Developers of Blizzard Entertainment, the maker of popular video game franchises such as Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch, nervously prepare for a big meeting with their new bosses. On October 13th, after a protracted battle with regulators, Microsoft Corp had completed its $69 billion acquisition of the company's gaming studio parent, Blizzard Activision Incorporated. 2 weeks later, Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft's Xbox, and his lieutenants were inbound. On Blizzard's Warcraft team, leaders scrambled to compile a PowerPoint presentation, as they would have in the past days, detailing their vision for the future and the products they had in development. But when Spencer arrived at Blizzard's campus in Irvine, California, he told them something pleasantly unexpected. He wasn't interested in talking business. He just wanted to check out their games and meet their staff. Before long, Spencer was battling orcs and trolls on his phone while playing the new mobile game Warcraft Rumble. Afterward, the company served barbecue outside, and Blizzard employees lined up for hours to ask questions and take selfies with the Xbox executives. What they were trying to communicate to us was really wanting to get to know us, said John Haidt, the general manager from the Warcraft franchise. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're not coming in with a master plan. How can we help you? It was awesome. It's too early to know how Blizzard will ultimately change under Microsoft, but Spencer's visit helped ramp up a growing sense of optimism among Blizzard's staff after years of disillusionment with their previous boss, Activision Blizzard Chief Executive Officer Bobby Kotick. In 2021, following his handling of sexual misconduct lawsuit, close to 2,000 Activision Blizzard employees signed a petition calling for Kotick to step down. In October, when the Microsoft deal finally closed, Kotick announced that he would be leaving the company at the end of the year. Blizzard staffers are particularly hopeful that the new regime will restore the studio's sense of autonomy. In an interview, Blizzard president Mike Ybarra said that Spencer had indicated that he wants Blizzard to be more like the independent studio it once was. I absolutely love that Ybarra says it motivates the team. Blizzard became part of Activision in 2008. For years remained largely self-governed. But in late 2010s, Kotick and his executives began pressuring the studios to cut costs, expand development teams, and produce games more quickly. The interference was unwelcome to company diehards. In 2018, Blizzard co-founder and Mike Morhaime stepped down. Many other veterans followed. Rip Jeff Kaplan. You will be remembered. You were part of the problem, but you were also the man who made the game that we love. So, we just needed to stick you into the game making section and make more cool games with people, as opposed to making you do a lot of the media stuff. That was not very nice. I don't know. I do know why we did that, but threw him in front of everybody. Wasn't very good. By contrast, over the past decade, Spencer has taken a largely hands-off approach to the dozens of game teams that Microsoft has purchased. Ybarra said he expects the president to come at Blizzard. He expects the president to continue at Blizzard to the benefit of all. In 2 years, he's been in charge. Ybarra said he has to run many decisions up the chain of executives of Activision, slowing everything down. So people continuously say inside Blizzard that Activision was the problem. Bobby Kotick was the problem. The Activision is the bloody problem. And I'm glad that the developers are saying it. I'm glad the people who are in charge are saying it. I'm glad that this is now becoming coming to light, at least, more than anything else. Going to Phil and saying, hey, can we do this? I think he would look at me and go, run your studio? I do think our decision making will be faster. Oh yeah, going to Phil and saying, hey, can we do this? I think he would look at me and go, run your studio. So before Blizzard Activision, whenever they wanted to add a new feature or develop some kind of custom system for Overwatch, had to go and ask the whole chain all the way up the line, is this something we can spend money on? Is this some kind of thing that we can design? Is this something that we can build? Well, hopefully that is a little bit more freedom, at least. Before the acquisition, Blizzard hits, misses, and delays could significantly impact the share price of Activision. Moving forward, Blizzard will account for a much smaller slice in the $2.6 trillion Microsoft, a difference in theory that could ease overall pressure on the studio and give Ybarra more leeway to share numbers and results with his employees. Those kind of changes, I think, are going to increase transparency in an awesome way. One frequent question among staff is whether Blizzard will now be allowed to experiment more freely. In recent years, Blizzard has increased the focus on billion-dollar franchises such as Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch. A narrower emphasis was that on full display at the company's recent BlizzCon convention in Anaheim, California. Meanwhile, both fans and employees have lamented that the lack of attention for the beloved yet successful games such as the long-term dormant StarCraft. Ybarra says that on the heels of the acquisition, he still intends to have a big team working on the largest franchises, but he is also open to less mainstream projects, including a possible return for StarCraft. Under Kotick, many Blizzard staff members with experience developing real-time strategy games left the company. So if the franchise does return, Ybarra hinted that the next iteration could be in a different genre altogether. This is actually a really interesting point I think we should highlight quite a bit. Blizzard knows that their staff is completely different. There was a generation of people that built games in a very specific way in the past. We are going to slowly see Blizzard completely change the type of games that we play and type of ways that we address certain problems. I, for one, am relatively positive because I'll be honest, and this is something that's very controversial, as good as RPG games are, as good as RTS games are, I think they are the inferior game. I think they're an older generation style game that does work somewhat today. And we see the RPG turn-based Baldur's Gate exploding onto the market recently because it is a great game and you can have great versions, but it's still a very old way of doing things. It still has a hold up from the past. Thank you so much, Wisebot, for removing spammer. Thank you. Go away. You're not appreciated. Get out of my chat, you nerd. If it is something that's useful, you can obviously, if you are not a spammer, PM me through Discord, !Discord, join, and I can bring up kind of links from there. One frequent question among staff is whether Blizzard will now be allowed to experiment more freely. In recent years, oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry, this is where I am. Ybarra hinted that the next iteration could be a different genre altogether. It's not me saying go make a StarCraft game, Ybarra said. I need to have someone who has the vision, passion that comes with the idea, and I'll bet that on the team, or I'll bet on that team. Sorry, he's betting on the team that has the idea. At the moment, Spencer's broader vision for gaming revolves around Xbox Game Pass, a subscription service which users pay a monthly fee to access a catalog of games. At Microsoft, the focus is on a broad subscription offering that can greatly influence what kind of projects are valued. Developers can help boost Game Pass with its titles that strongly appeal to a particular demographic, even if they don't sell millions of copies to the masses. Yet another potential major change for everybody at Blizzard. So it does look like the Game Pass, the Xbox Game Pass, is really being considered as something that game developers can use to all push their games out, but also make a whole bunch of money. That way, I do believe, I'm a subscription lover. I know a lot of people hate subscriptions, but it means that month after month after month, you are getting a reliable service. It's up to the company to make sure that you have a whole bunch of games to put together, and everybody pools their money, and then everybody splits their money based on how successful that game was. So this is an excellent article. Not much else to say. I think there's a lot of good changes that's happening to Blizzard, and hopefully this means a lot of good changes that's happening to Overwatch, which the recent BlizzCon, oh my god, yes, we have seen a lot of very good things. So keep it up. Let's take a look at this other article. Players have no patience, says Blizzard president. They want new stuff every day, every hour. Now, I've mentioned this before. The only reason why people are stuck waiting for new stuff every day, every hour is because you guys don't have mods. You guys don't have any way for the community to create their own fun environment. There's two different types of kids on the playground, okay? There's a kid that you give him a stick and a rock and he makes a game and he calls that game baseball. And there's a kid that has to wait until somebody else makes that stick and a rock or puts that stick and a rock to make the game baseball, right? That's the two types of kids in the playground. And what Blizzard wants is they want everybody, all their consumers, to be the type of the kid that waits until things happen, when really the playground is full of people that want to build things. So let's take a look at this article and see what he says. I might disagree with quite a bit of it because I do believe it comes from an incorrect assumption as about what people want. Because yes, people want new stuff, but they don't always want new stuff from you. So people who play video games want new content literally every single day, according to Blizzard president Mike Ybarra. Indeed, they want new stuff every day, every hour. I do not want new stuff every day, every hour. Mike, frankly, the idea makes me want to burn my possessions and go spend the rest of my life under a pine tree. Ybarra's pseudo-apocalyptic observations came during a chat with The Verge about all things Blizzy under new owner Microsoft. Ask about Blizzard's current approach to live service gaming. Ybarra noted that players have no patience. They want new stuff every day, every hour. We're trying to react that way while holding Blizzard's high quality bar high. Blizzard, you have not had a high bar for quality at all. So I don't know. I do know why he's saying that, because it's like it's a president thing to say. It's a management leader thing to say. But you guys, that bar is very low right now. So don't even pretend. Of course, high bar to them means like just ankle height. Blizzard has had a fair few live service irons in the fire at the present, from the troubled Overwatch 2, which is about to get a new Samoan tank hero, through the less troubled Diablo 4. Okay, that's not just more marketing. One obvious question is how to keep up with that avalanche of new stuff without making bad new stuff. Ybarra's answer, as may be deduced from Blizzard's current operations, set up vast teams increasingly fueled by the power of in-game monetization, with a lot of effort dedicated to ensuring that buying things in a Blizzard game feels enjoyable. We know players want new content literally almost every single day, Ybarra went on. At the same time, it takes large teams to be able to deliver that, so you have to monetize it in the right ways. At the same time, I always tell the teams, when someone spends $1 or a penny with Blizzard, I want them to feel good after they do that. How do we get to a world where we know that that's always going to be the basis of what we're doing? We want to serve players with more content in our universes, he added. At the same time, we want to make sure that we're responsible and meet their expectations. I think we're still fine-tuning a lot of things as we go forward, but it's something top of the mind for me as we go forward. Okay, 2 sentences like that. Blizzard execs do remain open to proposals that aren't live services. Ybarra commented, it'll be a 4-hour experience or a 400-hour experience. Nor are they afraid to create new IPs or turn models upside down. Still, the publisher's current portfolio suggests that the majority of chips are on service gaming for the moment. It's interesting and harrowing to think about how live service games both react to actively cultivated player behavior. And actively cultivate player behavior. Ybarra doesn't discuss the role of publishers and developers have played in teaching players to expect and demand new stuff every day. So this was a comment from the actual editor here, or the writer of the article, which I agree. Via such habit-forming mechanisms as sign-in XP and events with exclusive rewards on top of compulsive design loops and feedback, such as jingling noises you get when you open a loot box. A lot of this kind of thinking comes from somewhere in the chat saying a hyper-growth area is good for us. Ybarra also doesn't talk about the sustainability implications of this expectation of constant new stuff. For instance, the risk of mass layoffs when those big team services don't perform as well as shareholders wish. I know I sound like a scold, but looking at it from a more dispassionate armchair designer point of view, I'd love to hear more about live service projects that try to limit player expectations of novelty and discourage daily engagement, with a view to create something that isn't the equivalent of an artificial black hole, remorselessly devouring energies of all concerned. one of the most enjoyable things live services game, one of the most enjoyable live services games I played lately is Might and Delight Books of Travel, a tiny MMO with a far from Diablo-esque update cadence in which you spend lots of time ambling from tea house to tea house. I sign into the game regularly just to have a nice stroll through the game's painterly countryside. Perhaps there's a tree I can live under. Perhaps there's a tree I can live under there. Okay, let's take. Actually, I want to take a look at this Books of Travel. Let's take a quick peek. That is very cute. All right, now that we've gone through that, let's take a look at the rest of the Stylus' video.
Battle with regulators, Microsoft Corp had completed its $69 billion acquisition of the gaming studio's parent, Activision Blizzard Inc. 2 weeks later, Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Xbox, and his lieutenants were inbound, or I should say lieutenants. I'm for Kotick to step down. In October, when the Microsoft deal finally closed, Kotick announced that he would be leaving the company. In the 2
I basically read all this.
Obviously means